everybody, it's Emily at ARG Schooling, and welcome to a new series that I'm doing called Build Your Library's Homeschool Tidbits. So welcome to Build Your Library's Homeschool Tidbits. This is going to be a weekly video series in which I will briefly delve into a topic related to homeschooling, and I'll share some of my knowledge as a longtime homeschooling mother of 4 children, 3 of whom I've graduated. I frequently talk about Charlotte Mason, and I always pitch Build Your Library as a Charlotte Mason inspired curriculum. But who was Charlotte Mason, and what does she have to do with homeschooling? This week I'm going to give you a very top-level Charlotte Mason in a nutshell. In the following weeks, our next several homeschool tidbits are going to be featuring many of Charlotte Mason's individual techniques and approaches, so you can stay tuned for that if you want more detailed stuff. But for now, we're going to focus on who was Charlotte Mason and why you should know about her methodology. So to kick this all off, happy belated birthday to Charlotte Mason. Her birthday was on January 1st. She was born 179 years ago in 1842. Charlotte Mason was a British educator who lived in the late 1800s and early 1900s. She was considered radical, ahead of her time when it came to education and her educational methodology. She saw children not as empty buckets that needed to be filled up with knowledge and information, but as whole people, whole persons that were capable of learning and making their own connections. Believing that learning was best accomplished not by memorizing long lists of names and dates from dull textbooks and boring lectures, she advocated instead using real-life experiences, interactions in nature and the world out of doors, and well-written living books. All of Charlotte Mason's philosophy can be summed up in her quote, "Education is an atmosphere, a discipline, a life." So what does that mean? Charlotte Mason believed in surrounding children with ideas and things in their home environment that would lead them to deepening their education. Children absorb so much just by being at home with their parents, listening to the adults around them. Discipline does not mean punishment or corrections so much as it refers to guiding children into good habits. Charlotte Mason believed that children must have good habits, specifically those having to do with character, instilled in them from a young age. Can you imagine your homeschool day if your child has the ability to just get to work and do what they need to do without you needing to remind them 500 times during the day because those good habits were instilled in them from the start? Life encompasses the academic side of education, but not with dull textbooks or rote memorization or boring lectures. Instead, she insisted that children were whole persons. They deserve the chance to learn with beautiful literature, observations in nature, and real-life experiences. The major tenets of her philosophy that I have used successfully in my own homeschool are living books, copywork, dictation, narration, short lessons in a wide array of subjects. Living books really form the backbone of everything we do. I choose the best of the best to offer my children, a feast of ideas. We use these books not just for reading, but for our copywork and dictation assignments. We narrate from these books. We use them as the basis for all of our writing and research. Because we employ short lessons, we can cover a wide range of material from history to science to Shakespeare, poetry, music, art, even math. Because we study from real textbooks, our lessons are never boring. And those short lessons help to keep your child's attention. And because our lessons are short, we are generally done with our homeschool day in the early afternoon. And that means the rest of their day is free to them, and it's open to be spent in play or spending time on creative pursuits. Charlotte Mason's ideas were seen as radical in the late 19th century, early 20th century, so we would have to assume that were she alive today, she would wholeheartedly embrace 21st century technology. From ebooks and audiobooks to podcasts and fantastic online courses, there are so many great opportunities and resources at our fingertips today to assist us in giving our children the best possible education. She may or may not keep up with the latest model of smartphone, but I bet you she would definitely own a Kindle. As I said before, Build Your Library is a Charlotte Mason inspired curriculum. I say it is inspired because I do not adhere 100% to all of her ideas, and I am not a purist. But like anything when it comes to homeschooling, I take what works for me and my children, and I skip what doesn't. And I recommend you should do the same. For example, Charlotte Mason was a major proponent of spending so much time in the out of doors, doing nature study, just being outside. However, we probably don't spend nearly as much time outside as we should, or as Charlotte Mason would want us to. We do try to get out for a walk once in a while, but living in New England, winter is long and unpleasant, and I am decidedly an indoor girl. But maybe your family loves to be outside. Every family is going to be different and come to this approach in a different way. Charlotte Mason had a motto for her students. She said, "I am, I can, I ought, I will." She taught her students that with good habits and motivation, they were capable of learning anything they set their mind to. We can offer that to our children today, right now. Give your child a world full of heroes and myths. Allow them big thoughts to think about and big ideas to chew on, and things that they can fall in love with. Give them ideas that they can ponder on and that will inspire them. That is the best education possible, one in which they see learning as a lifelong pursuit and not something that they just have to get done during school hours each day. In my next homeschool tidbit, I'm going to be deep diving into Charlotte Mason's concept of living books. So what is a living book and how can I tell it apart from twaddle? And should I let my children read twaddle? We'll be talking about that next time. So until then, happy reading. Bye.